Welcome back to Saturdays at Derek's. I'm Mike.
I'm Derek.
And we just saw season 2 of Daredevil, and holy fucking fuck.
Yeah, they definitely trumped last season, and I'm gonna go on record saying this is possibly my favorite live action Marvel thing. I really enjoyed this.
Right. No, on one hand, it's kind of not fair to compare it to movies because, they had 13 hours to
Flesh everything out.
Yeah, establish characters, really make the world of Daredevil feel deep and get you to really care about all the individuals in the show.
But it goes beyond that. It goes to how they handled the characters and how they handled every plot line and the violence and the action and how they handled everything was so true to the heart and soul of the comic books that it floored me. Especially when you're dealing with characters like Punisher and Elektra, which are kind of hard to...
They're morally ambiguous.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to put that into a media like this, without it coming off as a little bit too much.
Right. Well, I don't know. I loved it. There's really no other way to put it. I'm a big Punisher fan, and I'd say 95% of the way they wrote the Punisher, I'm really, really happy with.
And John Barenthal was so fucking good.
Yeah.
He handled the role so well that it's hard now to look at any of the other Punishers and
well, that douche from Warzone. I mean,
but yeah, I mean, as many problems as the Tom Jane stuff had.
I still really, really like Thomas Jane, but John Barenthal was far more the gritty Max series Punisher.
Yeah.
If Thomas Jane would be like regular continuity, white boots, white gloves Punisher, John Barenthal is the Punisher Max series Punisher, the really gritty fucking badass.
Well, he was so menacing. Even when he's beaten and leaning up against a tombstone, bleeding with his face mashed in, talking about holding his kids for the last time, there's still something menacing about him when he needs to be, but there's something so tender when he's talking about his kids and how he can go back and forth in between those two emotions and those two states of minds that it was just great. I mean, he nailed it.
Yeah. And a lot of that is due to the writers, but a lot of it is due to Barenthal's range.
Yeah.
His ability to just smoothly change gears in his acting and just give you everything that it needs to be conveyed emotionally. And there was nothing weak about his performance.
No.
I mean, it's on one hand the guy who's talking about his family being murdered and, in justifying what he's doing. On the other hand, there's the guy who's tied to a chair taking every fucking punch that gets thrown at him and completely no-selling that shit. The torture scene with the fucking ginger guy that thought he was a badass, and they're coming and they're just drilling Frank, and he's like, no, nothing. No, try it again. Nope, that didn't hurt.
Well, why don't you grab that drill and shove it through my foot?
see if that fucking helps. Just incredibly cool shit.
Yeah.
And Punisher is an easy character to just make it a two-dimensional action character and brush it off.
As we've seen many times.
It's a lot of how the Punisher has been portrayed in media in the past has been very much of that. You know, the Dolph Lundgren movies were just, you know, cheap '80s action fare.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even the Thomas Jane movies that I liked for the most part, you know, was generally a lot of that shit. Although at least in the Thomas Jane movies, he was clever and kind of ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
But then they did silly shit like the fucking the fight with Kevin Nash.
Yeah, yeah. Which I thought was still fun to watch, but
It was a fun fight, but it was a cartoon fight.
yeah.
You know, which going back to Thomas Jane is, you know, the straight regular continuity Punisher, and John Bernthal is the fucking badass adult Punisher.
And how quickly they got into the struggle between Daredevil and Punisher. I mean, they fight in the first 4 episodes.
Yeah.
In every episode.
Yeah, and it's not just a fist fight, it's a moral and philosophical back and forth.
Yeah.
While they're doing it. It's fucking brilliant. Go watch it. Just turn this off and go to Netflix.
There was a little bit in the middle where it seemed to kind of slow down when they introduce Elektra.
Yeah.
And then they have some story.
Well, that's because you suddenly had another backstory to establish.
Yeah.
And work up to, so you get an idea of.
It didn't bore me, but it slowed down a little bit, and it was like
it did. It backed off the pacing, but you know, I think that was the point where the show metaphorically needed to take a deep breath so it could get into its second wind.
Yeah. The Elektra stuff was really good though.
It was
the way they handled her, and they explained her backstory to just kind of let you know who she was and why she's fucked up.
Yeah, yeah, and who she was to Matt.
Yeah. And she made a far more interesting character than I've ever seen Elektra be.
Right.
Possibly even in the comic books, the way that they handled her, because comic books were kind of. I know there's a huge love for her from the comics, but even the comics were kind of up and down as far as like what kind of character they wanted her to be.
Yeah.
And I thought this set a really good tone for what makes her interesting.
That she's ruthless but conflicted, and she'd like to be on the side of the angels, but it's just kind of against her nature.
Yeah. So she was portrayed greatly.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was really good. And again, huge Punisher fan, so I went into this going, Elektra, let's see what happens. But I was pleasantly surprised by the way she was written. I mean, I guess not surprised that she was well written. I mean, after season 1, it's kind of a given that if she had been written poorly, it would have been more unexpected than the good job that they did.
Yeah. I thought season 1 had a lot more pacing issues than season 2 did. I think season 2 had a more even pace. Foggy stepped up a lot this season. You got to see a little bit more of how he can be kind of heroic in his own way. And how he can be a good lawyer. Whereas, like, season 1, he was kind of like, meh.
Well, I think Foggy's a character who he can be an excellent lawyer. He just needs to believe it himself. And I think more than anything, the fact that he was able to step up during the Punisher trial and really knock it out of the park with, frankly, no goddamn help from Matt at all. They lost, but it wasn't because of anything that Foggy did. It was, just Castle going, nope, fuck it, I'm tanking this. I'm just going to sandbag this shit and go to jail, because
I got to find out what Wilson Fisk has to say about all this shit.
Which was cool that Fisk was really involved in the second half of this season.
We were talking earlier that we got 3 origin stories in this, because even more than Wilson Fisk's origin story in the first one, this is Kingpin's origin story.
Yeah.
This is where Kingpin gets set up, and he finally gets his name and becomes who he's going to be once he gets out of prison.
Yeah.
And completely takes over crime.
Mm-hmm.
And D'Onofrio looked even better as Kingpin.
Yeah.
In this one, I mean, they got him pumping the iron with the fucking the
huge weights on you.
And then he gets up and he's like, you can see how he's bulked out, but he's like bulked out here too.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks even more. I mean, I thought he was a little bit small in season 1, but in this he's got the Kingpin size.
Oh, I don't think he's quite as big.
He's not 7 feet tall and 450 pounds.
In the comic books, the guy's a human wall. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio is a big dude, but I don't think you're gonna get Kingpin's actual bulk without introducing some CGI.
Yeah, which is far too expensive for a Netflix series.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying he looked more, but he's definitely more Kingpin size in this than he was in the first season.
Yeah.
He was like, I was like, oh, when I saw him in the first season.
But long story short, season 2 of Daredevil was absolutely amazing. I cannot really argue with the idea that it may be the best live-action Marvel that they've done, period. Just because there's such a depth to all the characters and the story itself, and the complexity is amazing. We didn't even get into talking about the Hand.
Yeah, which were great.
They were fucking amazing. And the dude that we all thought had been burned to death was back, and he's like, no, I cannot be killed. Until Stick chops his fucking head off.
Him. That was so awesome, because he pops up, does his Michael Myers shit.
Like, I am immortal ninja. No, not really. Stick just whops his fucking head off. It's
Stick, man. Oh my god, dude. There's just so much good stuff in this season.
It's amazing. Go turn this off, go watch it. You will not be disappointed. If you really seriously hated this season, you're not human.
Or you're definitely not interested in good television.
Why do you hate America? Motherfucker.
Fuck
anyway,
you people suck.
We've been on too goddamn long, so we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys in part 2.
Doodles.